Take a deep breath. Feels easy, right? But in the heart of Dhaka, that simple act is a lethal gamble. Imagine inhaling air so thick with lead and sulfur, it's like smoking 2 full packs of cigarettes before lunch. Out here, the smog isn't just weather, it's a toxic shroud burying a city of 20 million. You can't see a block ahead, yet you feel every particle scraping your lungs. This is a place where survival is the only currency that matters. Don't forget to subscribe to Remote Worlds to support us in bringing you more of these stories. In the heart of Dhaka, the air doesn't just surround you, it confronts you. On a bad day, the haze is so thick and oily, you can practically reach out and grab a handful of it. To the locals, this isn't just a foggy morning, it's a slow-motion catastrophe. Experts will tell you that spending just 24 hours wandering these streets is the physiological equivalent of chain-smoking 2 packs of unfiltered cigarettes. Think about that. Every toddler playing on a street corner and every vendor hawking fruit is effectively a heavy smoker from the day they're born. This isn't your run-of-the-mill smog. It's a toxic cocktail of fine dust, lead, mercury, and arsenic that's literally shaving 7 years off the average person's life. You can feel the grit between your teeth and the burn in the back of your throat. The main culprits are the 7,000-plus brick kilns ringing the city like a wall of fire. They're churning out a staggering 23 billion bricks a year to feed a relentless construction boom. But the cost isn't measured in dollars, it's measured in lungs. These kilns don't run on clean energy. They burn whatever they can get their hands on. We're talking low-grade coal, wood, and literal piles of trash, pumping black death directly into the sky. It's a brutal cycle. To build a future for this country, they are burning away the very air needed to live in it. It's an invisible killer, silent and patient, turning the simple act of breathing into a high-stakes gamble for 170 million people. Out here, a breath of fresh air isn't a right, it's a luxury that most will never afford. If the air doesn't get you, the food just might. Walk into any local wet market and you'll see exactly what I mean. In this part of the world, food safety isn't a regulation, it's a luxury no one can afford. We're talking about raw meat and fish, sitting out in the sweltering 90-degree heat for hours on end. There's no ice, no refrigeration, and definitely no health inspector coming to save the day. It's a breeding ground for bacteria like salmonella, yet families line up every single day because, at the end of the day, a dirty meal beats an empty stomach. But the real kicker? Look at the market set up right along the railway tracks. It's one of the most surreal sights you'll ever witness. People are selling produce and butchered meat just inches from the rails. When a massive train thunders through, it kicks up a violent cloud of coal dust, grease, and track filth that settles directly onto the food. You'd think they'd toss the tainted meat, right? Not a chance. As soon as the caboose passes, the vendor just calmly brushes the black soot off with a rag and keeps on selling. It's a brutal, everyday math problem where survival takes precedence over hygiene. To us, it looks like a health nightmare. To them, it's just another Tuesday. They aren't choosing between clean or dirty. They're choosing between eating tonight or starving tomorrow. It's a bitter taste of reality that reminds you just how thin the line is between making a living and just barely hanging on. When your belly is growling, you don't ask about the dust. You just pray the heat hasn't turned the meat yet. Then you've got the water. If the air is a thief, the water here is a straight-up assassin. Look at the Buriganga River, once the lifeblood of Dhaka. Now it's basically a liquid graveyard. We're talking 350 tons of raw sewage and toxic sludge from textile mills and tanneries dumped into it every single day. It's reached a point where the water changes color like a twisted mood ring. It's pitch black today, neon purple tomorrow, and a sickly blue the next, depending on what dye the factories are finished with. The oxygen levels are flatlined at 0. No fish, no plants, nothing can survive in that ink. Yet, you'll still see kids splashing in the foam and women scrubbing laundry in the chemical soup because they simply have nowhere else to go. But the real gut punch isn't just what's on the surface. It's what's hiding underground. Back in the 70s, there was this massive push to save lives by digging tube wells to get away from the filthy surface water. It looked like a miracle at the time. But here's the kicker. Nobody knew the soil was naturally packed with arsenic. What started as a humanitarian mission turned into the largest mass poisoning in human history. Millions of people spent decades pumping what they thought was clean water, only to find out they were slowly drinking themselves to death. It's a cruel irony that'll make your blood run cold. The very wells meant to be a lifeline ended up delivering cancer and organ failure instead. It's like the land itself is rigged against you. If the rivers don't poison you from the outside, the deep earth finds a way to do it from the inside. Out here, even a glass of water is a game of Russian roulette. When the air is toxic, the food is filthy, and the water is pure poison, you eventually run out of things to lose. And that's when people start looking at the only thing they have left, their own bodies. It's a level of desperation that's hard to wrap your head around until you see it firsthand. Take a trip to what the locals call Kidney Village. In these poverty-stricken backwaters, the statistics will stop you cold. 1 out of every 35 adults has a surgical scar running down their side. These folks aren't donors in the way we think. They're survivors selling off their parts just to keep the lights on. Brokers crawl through these villages like vultures, promising a way out of debt. A desperate father or a struggling mother sells a kidney for maybe $2,500 a pittance that might cover a few bills, while that same organ gets flipped on the black market for 10 times that amount. It's a predatory math that treats human beings like a warehouse of spare parts. But the tragedy doesn't stop at the operating table. If you head into the shadows of the Doladia district, you'll find a different kind of commodity. It's one of the largest red light districts on the planet, a labyrinth where thousands of women and young girls are trapped in a brutal cycle of debt and exploitation. Many were sold into this life before they were even old enough to know what was happening. There are no happy endings here. When these women finally succumb to the life, they're often buried in unmarked graves, nameless, faceless, and forgotten by a world that never gave them a fair shake to begin with. In a place where even your soul feels like it's up for sale, dignity is the first thing to go and the last thing anyone can afford to get back. Even in a place that feels like it's reaching a breaking point, you see things that'll leave you speechless. I'm talking about the sewer divers. Picture this: a man stepping into a manhole, vanishing neck deep into a river of black sludge and raw waste. He doesn't have a hazmat suit or an oxygen tank. He's got a wooden stick and his bare hands. He dives down into that toxic soup to clear blockages so the city doesn't drown in its own filth. It's a job that would make most people back home pass out just from the smell. But for him, it's the only way to put bread on the table. It's gritty, it's dangerous, and it's arguably the most essential job in the city. But here's the real paradox of Bangladesh. Despite the crushing pollution and the bone-deep poverty, the spirit of the people doesn't just survive, it thrives. You'll see a rickshaw puller flash a genuine smile through the soot, or a family sharing a meager meal with a level of hospitality that'll put yours to shame. The streets are a chaotic explosion of vibrant colors, rich history, and a culture that refuses to be buried under the smog. It's a place where the human will is forged in fire and tempered by hardship. As the sun sets, struggling to glow through that thick, gray haze, you can't help but wonder, how much more can the human heart actually endure? They keep working, they keep hoping, and they keep dreaming of a day when a deep breath doesn't feel like a death sentence. It's a haunting reminder that while we might be divided by oceans and economies, the drive to build a better life for our kids is the same everywhere. The question isn't whether they have the strength to survive, they've already proven they do. The question is, when will the world finally decide that they shouldn't have to? Seeing the struggle in Bangladesh reminds us of a powerful truth. We often overlook the very things that keep us alive. A clean glass of water, a lungful of fresh air, these aren't just basics, they are gifts. If there's one thing to take away, it's to cherish what you have and never lose that drive to fight for a better world. What part of their resilience touched you the most? Drop a comment below and let's talk. Don't forget to subscribe to Remote Worlds to keep these stories alive. I'll see you guys in the next one.